This is a presentation I gave a couple of weeks ago, again with Chrissy and Rob. That was really fun. This has been long in the making because I have been really busy with all kinds of stuff. The presentation will be about how I automated Glenn Berry's DMV scripts, and these are really amazing scripts made by Glenn Berry, and I really wanted to automate them because I am lazy as hell when it comes to repetitive tasks. So let's see if this wants to change. Yeah. So a little bit about me. I'm Sander. I'm a SQL Server DBA, and I'm an MCSE on the data platform. You can contact me by email or Twitter or on my blog and on Slack, of course. We've talked a lot, enough about Slack right here. So we've got a really small agenda. So I'm going to talk about Dr. DMV or Glenn Berry with double N, and why I automated the DMV scripts. We'll do a walkthrough how I solved that, and of course a demo. So if you don't know Glenn Berry, you might have been living under a rock. He has created some really fantastic scripting which can help you analyze your entire server state, do performance troubleshooting using the DMV queries he put together. He's a principal consultant for SQL Skills, which is also the company with Paul Randall and Kimberly Tripp. So really the gurus of this SQL world. So why would I automate that? The scripts are there. I can just execute them and collect all the results. I don't need everything, but like I said, I hate to do repetitive tasks, especially if I have to do them manually. And if I can just automate it, you will see later on in the demo, I can query out an entire server in 2 minutes. So, and do over 70 queries over about 15 databases and an entire instance. And if it takes only 2 minutes to run that script, next time it will just be faster. So let's do a little walkthrough what I did. So I'm going to change my screen again. I hope this is going to work. Can you see the screen? The code screen?
We can, okay. Yes, Sander.
Yep.
Okay. So I put in a little break. Thanks, Chrissy, for helping me with that, because it helped me during my practice session. So it didn't break anything. So normally if you would go use a DMV, just a little sidestep, if you don't know what a DMV is a dynamic managed view or function, which has been in SQL Server since 2005 and has been developed by Microsoft, and more functions and views came along with that. If you don't know them, please look into them, because they are your go-to for performance troubleshooting or making better queries and stuff, and just go there. So normally I would just put this code in SSMS, execute that, and then go ahead. But if we look to my good friend's script, it's quite long. And we keep scrolling for about a good time. So if I go back to my code, the length of the entire script is over 1,500 lines long. So I don't want to execute that manually. So if we look at my script, and I'm going to the heart of it. That's my parse DMV file, and I know this is not a good good verb for that, but I couldn't find I didn't know another way. It's about 100 lines. I'm gonna walk you through it. Oh, by the way, you need a couple of modules before you can use it. One of them is the import Excel, and import Excel enables you to export all the data to Excel without having the need to have Excel installed. So it uses the Open XML format that used by Microsoft, and you don't need Excel for that. So it just writes to a file, and even if Excel isn't installed like you need with COM objects, it will still write that, and it has some really cool features. I use some functions for the DBA tools, and of course SQL Server. And if you want to install the export DMV information, it's over there. So there are two types of queries, and there are the instance level and the database specific queries. And the instance level start at line 51, somewhere around in the script, and around line number 1000, you will get to the database specific query. So there's a long list of queries. So a specific query will look like this in the script, and there's a little header with a description, a query number, and the title. So I just call this the title, and the query itself. And luckily for me, Glenn has done a great job putting all this little part of at the end of every query, so I can know when my query ends. So I've got a couple properties: a number, a title, a description, and a query. So if I look at a line, I would want to split that, because I want all the results, and I would put them in a little object and get the results back. So I can iterate through all the queries and output the information to the script. So I get a query, a little space, that's probably the one between here, and the title. So if I put that in an array, I get my query number, I get my query title, and my description. So that's the first part of my query collection. So that's this little part right here. I also put in a flag, so some kind of flag, because after this line has passed, I iterate through every line. I want to know if I want to start capturing every next line that's part of the query. So I put a capture flag to true, so my script knows, okay, next lines will be a query, so I save them into a query variable. Also, if the line starts with a select, with, execute, dbcc, create, declare, all these kind of keywords, I also want to set this capture flag. Right there. And I have to do some cleaning up, because there are queries where there is commented code on a line. So you don't want that commented code in there, because if I concatenate all the lines together in the query variable, I would get something like that, and it would error out. So I have to clean it up. So I do a substring that code is not included into my variable. And as soon as I see a line with the 6 dashes, I know that's the end of the query, and I will set the capture flag to false, save the properties, put it in the query object, and save it to the result. And in the end, all the lines have passed. I return a result, and I have my queries. So another part of this little module is to get the DMV file. I know that if you execute this module, you might not have the DMV file somewhere located on your workstation. No worries, it will download it for you. So if it's not there, it will download the correct version right away. So if we go to the main function, I check if some functions are imported. I do some variable checking, and then the fun stuff happens. You're able to exclude DB related queries or instance related queries. So if you put in the switch exclude DB or exclude instance, it will not execute the queries for that switch. So this is some checking. Here is where your file will be downloaded, and then I will iterate through every query one by one, check if it's DB specific, execute it, and then it's being exported to Excel to its designated tab with coloring, even coloring is possible, automatically. And it's really fast. And if there's no data, you have just no data. Imagine you have an availability group, DMV, and you don't have any availability groups on that instance, then you will have no data. And this is the part for the instance related. And does almost the same thing by Jan. Or this is DB related, this is the instance. Yeah. So this is kind of how I solved that issue, and it's about a little more than 500 lines of code. It's not that big and not that complicated, luckily. So this was the walkthrough. Of course, we're here for a demo.
Sander?
Yeah?
Is there a chance you could up the font size on your code, please?
I probably can.
Just a quick question from guys. Thank you.
Better?
Looks good to me. Is that okay? Somebody post in the questions.
I can go through it again, but it's.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. Thanks, Sander. Much better. Yeah, much better, they say. Thank you.
So you can look at the code. It's on GitHub, so it's freely available. If you want to look at it, it's on. I can show you a link later on. It's. I just wanted to show a little bit how I solved this issue, because I think it's important that you can automate almost any repetitive or manual task. And we PowerShell programmers or scripters are always mentioned as people always find the nail for everything, but I'd rather find the nail than do things twice, which costs me too much time. So I'm going to show you how the function works. So I need a couple of things. I need the Excel module. I need the DBA tools. I need the server module connecting, and I need my own. So I got everything loaded. I don't know if I have the last version of the DBA tools. So if I want to execute this, I can simply just put in my PC. And I've got about 15 databases running on there. I can specify a specific database, but if I don't do anything, it will assume you want all of them. So you can put in a credential if you're doing this remote. You can put in a PowerShell credential. You can put in the DMV location where the DMVs are saved and the destination. So I've got a destination.
Hey, Sander, real quick. This has been awesome so far, except the only issue is we're hearing very loud typing. Is there a way for you to move your mic away from your keyboard?
That will be a little hard because it's a laptop.
Dang. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I will try to type a little less hard.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
So I've got a little folder I want to save everything in, and if you want to exclude a instance level queries or DB instance, you can just use these kind of switches. I just want to do everything and just go ahead. So I've got a couple of databases who are in restoring mode and standby, and he's gonna try to connect to that, and that's the reason why it's so slow. Normally it would just go like that. And there it goes. And if I switch to my Explorer window, you can see all the files that are written. I create one file for the instance and a separate file for each database because you don't want to mix them up, mix them together. So it takes about 2 minutes before it's done, and I'll show you afterwards how that looks like. So we're at query 61. There are about 73 of them for 2014. So these are the slow queries, I've noticed, because they tend to retrieve a lot of information. So maybe we have some questions in the meantime.
Sorry, I lost my.
Yes, Sander.
Yeah. I lost my window.
We've got people asking what the minimum version of PowerShell required is.
It's PowerShell version 3.0.
It's a nice baseline.
Yeah. And the rest of the questions are mainly sort of links for codes and stuff, which I've already put up. Any other questions? Come in whilst the script is running. Then you will be able to see the Excel after.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to go through all. I can probably show.
I actually like seeing it in action. You know, like just fast forwarding past it wouldn't be as real as a DBA running this. actually appreciate this, so I wouldn't even worry about it. Somebody did ask. Oh, somebody says Stephen Cantrell, you got a fan, said, I love your sessions, by the way. Okay. Do we have anything that you can see? Go on, sorry.
No, how long does it normally take, in your experience, Sander, when you've been running these on custom sites?
A couple of minutes. This is for one instance, and in about 15 to 20, maybe 15 to 20 databases, and this is locally. It doesn't really make a difference if you do this remote, because it's just simple queries that are executed.
So do you notice a difference in speed when you execute it through SSMS and in PowerShell?
No, because I think it's even faster if I do it in PowerShell because it's exported right away.
Exactly, totally.
I wouldn't even want to. I would have to go into the file because you cannot execute the DMV scripts from Glenn right away. You cannot. You can just execute them, but then you would have to wait a long time, and there are over 73 queries being executed.
Is it possible to filter those queries, Sander, so that you can maybe just do the statistics ones?
I want to put it in. That's the next step I wanted to do. The last thing I executed that was to include pipelining, so you can execute it to multiple servers at the same time. So you can just use. I can probably execute that.
So at the moment you can use one. You can only point at one instance.
You can put it in multiple instances.
Okay, that was one of the questions.
That's something I put in this morning. So as you can see, I can put in. So these are the same instances, but with a different name. It will still connect to a different part, and I'll just remove some files. And I'm gonna exclude the database queries just to make sure it runs a little faster. So, what are we gonna do? Don't type in a demo.
Oh, always type in a demo. Proves you're human. So another question, is it possible to store the DMV results into a table?
Not from this script. This is solely for exporting that data into an Excel file. If people are interested, I can probably create something for that. So.
In the future, I know that you had asked me if Andre's similar scripts had been imported into DBA tools. Whenever that is a part of DBA tools, his will be able to export to a table because it'll be able to use the built-in command. So, Sander, would you be able to actually export this using Microsoft's Write SQL data table?
Yeah, probably. The difference is that instead of exporting the results to an Excel file, I can just export it to any destination I want. It's just a matter of putting a little choice, either export it to Excel or write it to a table or write it to a CSV file or whatever I want. The function is the same. The results are just raw, are just query data. So I use the invoke SQL command too from the DBA tools, which is really fast and enables me to use the PS credential instead of the invoke SQL command that's in the SQL Server module, and that only returns the query data for me. So the destination where to save that data is not really relevant. I wanted to do it in an Excel file because I use that quite often, but I can see that other people want to use it to write to the some table, the database. So the scripts are done. Let's see how that looks. So I've got two files. I executed the script with the name of my PC and localhost. So you see that there are now two files. There's a timestamp until it's up to the second. So let's open one. Let's, of course, switch it around to that. Nope. That's the right one. See, it's not working with me. Yeah, there it is. So I've got all these tabs over here with the title of the query, and the results are written right in here. So, and these are the same results I would get if I would execute queries manually and copy paste them into Excel. Glenberry did create some templates for Excel, but still you have to do it manually. So you have to execute the query, go to the tab, paste the data into there, into Excel, and then save it. So this is way faster. I can probably show. Yeah, I can show you some other. I can show you how the queries, not just the database queries are executed, but it works kind of the same way. So
can you show an Excel file with the database queries? Thank you.
And I will. So I've got an AdventureWorks database, and this is do I have the right screen? Yeah, there it is. So this is an example of the AdventureWorks. This is a database-related one with log space, IO stats, query executions. It's not a really busy table or database, but still, it will export it if it's there. So that by splitting up the instance and database specific queries, I can really be efficient in where to find some issues. It was really important. That was the demo. Are there any more questions? No, not that one. I'm supposed to see that one.
If you rerun that, does it overwrite or does it append to the existing result?
It creates a new file. So at the beginning of the function, it creates a timestamp, and it will, unless you execute it at exactly the same second, it will be the same. It will create some problems, but it will just create a new file.
Awesome. And how do you handle the multiple version of Glenn's scripts, i.e. 2008, 12, 14, 16, etc.?
It will, at the beginning of the script, it will check the version. I can open that, I can show that. So, I have to look it up though. Here is where I get the DMV. So I check the version string from the server SMO object, and if it's 9 something, it will know it's 2005, 2008, 2008 R2. I have to update this to include vnext. So 14 will be the next version. There were some issues with 2012 and below because some of the queries weren't ended the right way with the 6 dashes, which made it really difficult for me. So I changed those scripts and put them on my GitHub. And it will kind of automatically download the right version for you.
Can you tell us more about accessing your scripts via GitHub for the viewers who are not familiar with it? Is there a zip that you can download? How do you work with that?
If you go to github.com, I'll show you right.
The link is also in the questions and answers for anybody that wants to get it from there.
So if you go to github.com and then my name, and then export DMV information, you can just download the zip if you want to, or download it individually. I also created an install script from which you can just copy and just execute it, and it will install your user profile. So there will be your My Documents, Windows PowerShell, modules, and then a folder will be created with export DMV information.
Awesome, thank you.
And I really hope that Andre's script is going to be in the DBA tools really fast. It's kind of the same thing. I haven't seen his script, but he has told me that it works about the same.
So basically what Sander's talking about is he wrote a script, and also the SQL Server MVP in his area. Are you guys both from Amsterdam? I know that you're both from the Netherlands.
No, he's from Apeldoorn, and I'm from the other side.
So they're from the same general geography in the Netherlands, and they've both written their own scripts. And Andre had actually submitted a pull request to the DBA Tools repository. And poor guy, he did it a while back, and then I got burnout, and I've been in kind of a place of stasis for about a month and a half, so I haven't been able to approve it. We were hoping, I was trying to get it in by today, and it didn't quite work out. But in the future, what'll be really cool is that since both Sander and Andre have so much experience with this, whenever it does get into the DBA Tools module, and DBA Tools is open source and it's on GitHub, then they'll both be able to add features as requested.
Yeah, that's really a good thing. So, any more questions?
Says, can you parse the CSV files with Python and plot data points? I'm trying to expand this. Can you see the rest of the question, Rob?
It says for each server and instance very quickly. So can you pass they're Excel files, Ted. Could you pass the Excel with Python pandas and then plot the data points for each server instance very quickly?
I wouldn't know why you want to do that. This is just there's still a step if you have this information that you do some troubleshooting. You can just export this and you have to work with the data. If you have a performance issue where you have some memory pressure, you still have to interpret that data. The thing I created with this is that it makes it really easy to export that, and then you will have less time. There's less time needed to get that information. Just have that within a couple of minutes, and you can just go ahead and go troubleshoot everything without being on the server all the time, executing every single query that you might need. So I wouldn't know why you want to plot that. If you need that, you can probably do that. It's just an Excel file. You can just create your charts and everything from that. But I'm not really into Python yet.
There's another question, but I don't know if it's been answered yet. And now I lost it, of course. Oh, somebody would like you to add your module to the PowerShell gallery, which is very nice.
Oh, yeah, I can add probably. How do you do that?
Oh, there we go. I can actually help you with that.
Well, seeing as Mike Robbins is the one that asked, I think he can help us as well.
Oh, nice. I didn't even notice that was Mike. Hey, Mike. So it says, this was the question that I had seen. Could you show us, and this might have been answered, could you show us how the query scripts are stored in an Excel spreadsheet? For example, top worker time queries.
How they are saved.
So I guess this person would like to see the actual output from the specific query of the top worker time queries. So you had generated them, and I suppose that they would like to see the Excel files a bit more in depth.
Okay. Oh, that's a instance-related query. Top worker time. I don't know where it is yet. Don't know where it is.
So while you're just doing that, somebody asked where the questions and answers were. In the GoToMeeting application, if you open it up, you will see questions and answers. To pull that out, expand them to see the questions and answers.
I cannot really find the top worker. Get the 18 jobs. Another one then. I can't really find it right now.
The tab is on the database level, and he thinks that we're seeing the instance level in Excel right now.
Yeah, this is the. I think I've got a. This is the VentureWorks one I have. I've got some top I/O statements, logical writes. I don't have a lot of stuff in this database because it's not a really busy database. Maybe I have some.
Glenn Berry replied to me and said, top worker queries are further to the right.
Oh, great. Glenn Berry is watching.
It's like that time Bruce Payette showed up at one of mine. I was like, oh God.
That was one of the best moments at PowerShell Conference Europe, and there were a lot of great moments there.
Y'all should come. psconf.eu.
Rob, are there any seats left of that?
I think there are still 10 or 12 seats left. Yep, psconf.eu.
Rob and I are going to be there presenting about SQL Server and PowerShell. And actually, Andre as well.
Yep, Andre's there doing AppVeyor and I can't remember the other three and other sessions.
And Glenn added further to the right and in the instance section.
Oh. We keep going. So there's a lot of stuff in here. MDB files, volume info, IO stalls, indexes, top weights, top worker time. So this is your top worker time. That was what he asked, right?
I think that was the original question.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yep.
So this is your, on the instance level, top worker time, and these are the results. I thought it was instance level. Why did I doubt myself? So, any more questions?
That's been brilliant, Sander. Is there anybody else got any more questions? We've still got a couple of 3 minutes left. Please post them and we shall pass them on. Or if I've missed one that you've posted, because there's been a lot. So a question, what extensions do you use in VS Code? Please remember to mention the Twitter one, which I found out about today.
The visual code. I use the,
Yes.
let's see, I use a couple of them.
So in Visual Studio Code, I personally use the PowerShell, the MS SQL, Git Lens, and Twitter.
Let's see, where are I?
To the left, at the bottom, keep going down. The square tab.
Square tab. Oh yeah, extensions. Yeah. So I've got a couple of them. I've got the PowerShell one, and I also have the map over here, which really helps me to see the overview of my code. That's been included in a couple of versions ago. That's not really an extension, but it's an option you can switch on, which helps you navigate through your code really fast. Did you get this one?
Yes, that one. Yeah, I got that one. I found out about that today. That's a neat one.
I'm going to install it.
So, do you think VS Code is better than ISE? Was another question.
No, I don't think it's better than ISE. I just think there are some options that help me program a lot better. I've used ISE for years, and I still think it's one of the better editors out there. I just think that Microsoft has embraced PowerShell, and this with Visual Studio Code, they have made a good effort with adding the extensions for PowerShell, and they keep them updated. So
personally, I absolutely agree. Personally, I like it because I can use one application and code in SQL, code in PowerShell, and write documentation in Markdown, and save them all in my Git repository, and navigate through Git as well, all from the same place. So that's one of the reasons I personally think it's better than doing all of that in individual applications.
And until recently, you couldn't really. Now I set the Visual Studio Code to be default to PowerShell. So originally I would just open the ISE, small piece of code in the ISE instead of Visual Studio Code. But now I've set this to default to be PowerShell. I can just create a new window and type PowerShell related commands and execute them.
Can you just do Control K and then M so we can see the different languages?
This is it, right?
If you click there, and then type Control and K, let go, and then M.
Oh, okay.
Then so those are all the different languages that are available.
It's about every one of them.
Everything you need, I think.
And it's open source, so Microsoft has really embraced it, and I think it's a more lightweight version. It's way more lightweight than Visual Studio itself. So it really is intuitive to work with.
So we've had lots of, thank you very much, Sander. That's a great presentation. Thank you for the scripts. It's been brilliant. Yeah, anybody who's wanting to know if it's recorded, if you go to https sequelps.io/YouTube, then you will, if you subscribe there, then you'll get an email when it's been uploaded. Anybody have any final last questions?